Welcome to another deep dive. Today we are looking at a book that captures the quiet, everyday failures of modern life with an accuracy that is, honestly, almost uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about a beautifully minimalist piece of literature. It's titled ACHE, What Kind of Life Is This? By Cahyanudien Aziz Saputra.
It is a really remarkable piece of work. And, if you're the kind of reader who is constantly observing the unseen friction of the city around you, this is going to resonate deeply.
Yeah, exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to act as your literary scouts. We're doing a comprehensive book review to help you figure out if this is actually worth your precious reading time.
Right. Is it worth buying?
Exactly. What makes it stand out on a really crowded bookstore table? We're going to explore all of that, chapter by chapter.
And we should probably warn you right now, the author is incredibly upfront about what you're getting into. There's an author's note at the very beginning that explicitly tells the reader there are no neat lessons at the end of this book.
Not at all.
Yeah, there's no hidden treasure you need to find. The instruction to you is simply, and I quote, just sit and let it happen.
Okay, let's unpack this. The premise revolves around a central character named Ray. But the author makes it very clear that Ray isn't some chosen hero.
Far from it.
Right. Ray is nobody. Not you. Not me. But perhaps one standing beside us. He's kind of that invisible person in the same line as you at the grocery store or on the exact same train, breathing the same air.
Yeah.
And the way the book kicks off perfectly captures the relatable absurdity of just trying to function in a modern city.
It really does. The opening scene hooks you instantly because it's a micro-tragedy we've all likely experienced in some form.
Right. So it's 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Ray inserts a coin into a vending machine. He presses the button for black coffee. The machine hums. But green tea comes out.
Green tea?
And the brilliant part is that the machine isn't actually broken. There are no error messages, no blinking red lights. The internal logic of the machine worked perfectly. Only the output is wrong.
What's fascinating here is the psychological paralysis of that moment. Ray hates green tea. He has never liked it. But he picks it up, opens it, and drinks it anyway.
Because throwing it away feels like, a decision too big for 7 a.m.?
Exactly. And that scene sets the stylistic tone for the entire book. The prose itself is incredibly sparse. It's fragmented, written almost in stanzas rather than your traditional paragraphs.
Yeah, it looks different on the page.
It does. As a reader, you literally feel Ray's profound exhaustion in the physical white space on the page. The author is meticulously building a world where Ray isn't encountering massive theatrical tragedies. Instead, he's constantly thwarted by tiny, infuriating margins of error.
The margins of error. That's the perfect way to describe it. If you're thinking of buying this book, you have to know it's filled with these painfully relatable scenes where the modern infrastructure just fails him. Like the scene with the map application on his phone.
Oh, the job interview scene?
Yes. He meticulously follows the app to get to an interview. He follows every single digital instruction. Turn left, go straight for 400 meters. He arrives at the destination, and he's just staring at a blank wall with peeling white paint.
So he asks a woman at a nearby shop, and she casually tells him the company moved a year ago.
A whole year ago. The digital pin on his phone is right. The address in his email is right. But the physical place is simply gone. And he doesn't fight it. He waits, texts the HR number, gets no reply, and just follows the app's fastest route back home.
It's a brilliant commentary on the blind faith we put in digital infrastructure over physical reality. And the book is divided into 4 parts: Arrival, Wrong, World, and Still. These opening chapters, Arrival and Wrong, really double down on the bureaucracy of modern life. You see this when Ray is waiting at an administrative office with ticket number 34.
Oh man, that scene is the crushing weight of small errors personified. It's just a fading thermal print slip. Number 34. He sits up straight in a hard plastic chair for hours, tracking the red numbers on the display screen.
The physical toll of just waiting for a system to acknowledge your existence.
Exactly. And then, at 1:47 p.m., the receptionist just stands up and announces that they've reached full capacity for the day. Anyone with a number above 30 has to return tomorrow. The display screen literally says, now serving, 29. The arbitrary cutoff.
And notice what Ray does. He doesn't yell. He doesn't complain. He just folds his number 34 slowly, puts it in his pocket, and leaves. He doesn't throw it away.
Right, he keeps it.
Yeah, keeping that ticket is a tiny, almost pathetic assertion that he was there, that the hours he spent waiting actually happened.
And the margins of failure get even narrower when he's looking for work. The photo studio scene is a perfect example for anyone who's ever felt judged by an automated system. Ray pays 800 yen for CV photos. He sits straight, no smile. He pays 2,500 yen to print 20 copies of his CV.
Which is a significant amount of money for him at this point.
Huge. And when he submits one to an HR department, the HR staff looks at his paperwork for exactly 8 seconds. At the 6th second, she notices a faint shadow beside Ray in the photo. It's someone else's shadow, left over from a poor cropping job at the cheap photo studio.
It makes it look like an invisible person is standing right next to him.
Right. And because of that tiny silent imperfection, the HR worker places his CV in the rejection pile without a single word. Ray never knows why he was rejected. He just keeps carrying the other 19 useless copies in his clear plastic folder.
And the HR person isn't portrayed as evil either. She's just efficient. The system demands a flawless, frictionless performance, and Ray's poorly cropped photo introduced friction.
He's trying so hard to play by the rules. He stays up until 1:30 in the morning writing a cover letter, choosing his words so carefully. But he accidentally types the company name as trading with 2 A's. He only realizes it 2 weeks later when he gets no reply, and he just stares at the screen.
Or the cascading effect of minor mistakes. He arrives 12 minutes late for a 30-minute interview because he walked into the wrong building. It was completely identical to the right building, situated right next door.
Just a slight geographical mirror.
Exactly. But because of that simple mirroring, his interview is permanently reduced to exactly 18 minutes.
But the scene that potential readers will probably never forget involves the business cards. If you've ever tried to hustle or network, this will hit close to home. Rereads an article that says professionals always carry business cards. So he designs one on a free template and prints 100 sheets for 500 yen at a local shop.
And we have to keep the economics in mind here. That 500 yen was the money he had budgeted for his weekly rice.
Exactly. It's a massive sacrifice. He spends 45 minutes in his room, alone, hand-cutting them one by one with blunt scissors. He goes to a free networking event, meets a guy named Kenji, and hands him a card. Kenji looks at it and casually points out that Ray's name is misprinted. It says Rie, R-I-I-E.
The psychological realism in that moment is astounding. You can feel the immediate panic. Ray wants to explain the 500 yen. He wants to explain the blunt scissors, the 45 minutes of solitary effort, the fact that he checked the print preview multiple times.
But his mouth only opens slightly before Kenji is already distracted. Kenji waves at someone else across the room, calls him Rie, and just walks away. Ray is left standing there holding this utterly useless piece of cardstock.
And on the train home, he looks at the 99 other cards in his cheap 100 yen card holder. He doesn't throw them away. Maybe there is no reason good enough to throw away something made with so much effort, even if it is fundamentally flawed.
And we can't transition to the next section without mentioning the shoe. He's on the train platform waiting to go to another interview. He steps onto the train, and his right shoe catches in the gap between the platform and the train car. It just slips off and falls down onto the tracks. It's his only pair of dress shoes.
The absolute indignity of that moment. He has a split second where he wants to jump down and retrieve it, but the train doors are already closing.
So he just has to proceed. He has to ride the train, walk into the corporate lobby, and sit in the waiting room with one foot in a black shoe and the other foot in a single white sock. He tries to tuck his sock-covered foot under his chair, but it's completely visible. And he just has to walk into the interview room like that.
For a buyer looking for a deeply empathetic read, these opening chapters are a masterclass. This isn't about grand, sweeping cinematic tragedies. It's a meticulous cataloging of the exhausting, silent friction of simply trying to exist.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because as we move into part 3 of the book titled World, the narrative lens shifts. That crushing weight of personal failure is heavy enough, but the author doesn't stop there. He shifts the focus to what happens when the universe itself pushes back. It's no longer just about Ray's typos or dropped shoes, it's about cosmic bad luck.
The string of events here is genuinely staggering.
First, a massive storm hits the city right when he has a crucial interview. He has to walk 25 minutes through intense wind and sideways rain. He's holding his plastic folder tight to his chest just to protect his resume. He tries to take shelter under a small shop overhang, but half his body is still getting soaked. He texts the company to ask for a slight delay. No reply.
And when he finally arrives at the building,
the lobby is locked, the lights are off. There's just a printed notice on the glass door saying the office is closed due to the weather. He just turns around and walks back into the same wind.
But the author is clever here. He juxtaposes that defeat with a moment of rare, fragile hope, which of course makes the subsequent fall even harder. Ray finally has a great interview. The interviewer actually engages with him. Ray doesn't make any mistakes. And at the end, he gets a genuine smile, not the polite, dismissive corporate smile, and a handshake that lasts just 1 second longer than usual.
For the first time in the entire book, Ray actually lets himself hold on to a hopeful thought on the train ride home. And right as he's letting himself feel that warmth, his phone vibrates. It's an unknown number telling him his apartment building has caught fire.
The whiplash is brutal.
He rushes back, but the fire department won't let him inside. He just has to stand on the street and watch the left corner of the second floor's room burn away. He loses absolutely everything. The white shirt he kept perfectly ironed for interviews, his dead laptop, the 99 misprinted business cards.
And most tragically, he loses a small, faded photograph from his desk drawer.
A picture of him and an old friend. It was the only physical photograph Ray had in the world. The author describes it perfectly. The fire didn't know about the photograph. The fire doesn't choose.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this section transforms the book. It elevates it from a mere catalog of bad luck into a profound sociological study of modern urban isolation. The theme of loneliness becomes deafening.
You really feel it during the earthquake scene. Shortly after he finds a new, cheaper place to live, there is a magnitude 5.8 earthquake at 2.17 in the morning. Everyone in the building evacuates out onto the cold street.
And this is where physical proximity contrasts so sharply with emotional isolation.
Exactly. Ray stands there and watches the other tenants. A couple is holding hands, a mother is clutching her child, 2 women from the 3rd floor are hugging each other. And Ray realizes that while everyone around him is instinctively reaching out for someone, there is no one who knows to reach toward Ray. He checks his phone, and the screen just lights up empty, shows no notifications, and goes dark.
It's visceral. You can feel the chill of that night air. And that profound isolation pushes him to places he wouldn't normally go, just to seek out some kind of sensory overload, like the pachinko parlor.
He goes in driven by the overwhelming noise and the flashing lights, just to drown out the silence of his own life. He sits down and ends up losing 800 yen. And the book breaks down exactly what that money meant. Rice for 2 weeks, bus fare 8 times, 4 days of meals, gone in minutes.
But look at who he is sitting next to. An emotionless older man on one side, a woman wearing huge noise-canceling headphones on the other.
He notes it's the most alone he has ever felt. But surprisingly, he realizes it's not as bad as imagined.
That's a crucial emotional pivot for his character. He's finding a strange, dark comfort in the absolute anonymity of the city. He's completely unseen, and there's a kind of freedom in that.
But the isolation still aches, especially when he goes online. There is this brilliant vignette where Ray is scrolling through Instagram on a Saturday night. He sees photos of his old colleagues taking a trip to the beach. They had actually invited him in a group chat weeks ago, but he mentally calculated the cost of the train ticket and the food, and he simply didn't reply.
The silent financial math that dictates social lives.
Now he's looking at their photos, the white sand, the laughing, the drinks. Then he swipes to a photo of just the sunset, an orange, red, and purple sky. Ray zooms in on his phone. He purposely frames out the sea, the horizon, and his former friends. He just keeps the gradient of the colors. He screenshots it and makes it his phone wallpaper.
And he keeps it there for 3 weeks.
It is such a quiet, devastating act. He is stealing a beautiful piece of sky from a trip he couldn't afford to go on, surrounded by people who didn't even notice his absence.
If you enjoy books that hold a mirror up to the unspoken, incredibly lonely moments of city life, this section alone justifies buying the book. It forces you to look around your own life and think critically about the invisible people you pass every single day. On the escalator, at the convenience store checkout, in the waiting rooms, you will never look at a stranger staring blankly at their phone the exact same way again.
So what does this all mean? If you're listening to this, you might be waiting for the triumphant turnaround. The Hollywood ending. The moment Ray gets the 6-figure corporate job, finds a vibrant group of friends, and conquers the city.
But remember the author's promise in the beginning. No neat lessons.
Right. The final part of the book is titled Still. It does not offer a magical success story. Instead, it offers something much more grounded and, honestly, much more useful. A quiet, stubborn resilience. The scene that perfectly encapsulates this is his 24th job interview.
The contrast between his first interview and his 24th is striking.
He walks into this small, depressing room with a dusty plastic plant in the corner. The interviewer looks at his heavily edited resume and asks, why are there so many gaps? And Ray doesn't use the rehearsed corporate lines he practiced in the mirror. He drops the performance. He just tells the absolute truth. He says, a lot went wrong.
The interviewer is taken aback and asks, such as?
And Ray simply replies, almost everything.
The reaction of the interviewer is brilliant because it defies our expectations of a business interaction. The interviewer sets his pen down. He doesn't write anything on the evaluation form. He doesn't nod politely. He doesn't shake his head in disappointment. He just looks at Ray for a long time, and Ray looks back. And then the interviewer simply says, all right, let's begin.
It's a mutual acknowledgement of Ray's endurance. He's battered. He's wearing one white sock. His apartment burned down. But he's still sitting in the chair. He's still trying.
And that quiet endurance carries over to the smallest, most mundane moments. Consider the scene with the 10-yen coin.
Ray accidentally drops a 10-yen coin on the street, and it rolls perfectly into a narrow street train. He doesn't panic. He doesn't even try to reach his fingers through the grate to get it. He just watches it fall and keeps walking.
But the cascading effect of that loss hits 40 minutes later.
He's at a convenience store checkout, and he is exactly 10 yen short for his single item. He and the cashier just look at each other in total silence. Ray doesn't argue. He slowly takes the item, walks back down the aisle, puts it back on the shelf in the exact same spot he found it, and walks home empty-handed, thinking about that coin in the drain.
It's life continuing in its minor chords. No drama, just acceptance. Which leads perfectly to the final scene of the book, bringing the entire narrative full circle.
It really does. Ray returns to the exact same vending machine from the beginning of the book. It's late at night. He puts his hand on the cold glass for a long time, leaving a faint fingerprint in the condensation. He drops his coin in. His finger hovers over the buttons. Black coffee or green tea?
The tension of that mundane choice.
He presses black coffee, and this time, the machine actually gives him black coffee. He doesn't celebrate. He opens it, drinks it right there on the empty street, throws the empty can neatly into the center of the recycling bin, and just walks away. The narrator plainly states there's nothing special about it. But today, the machine got it right, and the book closes with the final lines. Ray walks, so do you.
Ray walks, so do you. It's a gentle but profound instruction to the reader to simply keep moving forward, regardless of the friction.
It's beautiful. Now, this raises an important question for anyone evaluating this book. Who wrote this? Why does it feel so undeniably authentic in its portrayal of systems in isolation?
This raises an important question indeed. If you look at the author's background in the source material, it provides essential context. Cahyanudien Aziz Saputra isn't a traditional novelist who sits in a sunlit cafe typing on a typewriter. He is actually a coder.
That makes so much sense.
The bio explains that he spends his nights assembling logic in the dark. He's building digital infrastructure for thousands of people, completely unseen by anyone who uses it. It notes that he writes these vignettes in the spaces between unfinished code, not because anyone asked him to, not because a publisher is waiting, but simply because there are things that cannot be said any other way.
That context gives the entire book this incredible, unpretentious rawness. You can feel that these words were written in the quiet hours of the night by someone trying to process the isolating systems we've built around ourselves. It perfectly explains the precision of the prose.
And the relentless focus on logic and system failures. The vending machines, the map apps, the automated HR screening algorithms. It is the perspective of someone who builds the invisible infrastructure of the world, realizing how easily a human being can fall through the cracks of that very infrastructure. It treats Ray almost like a human bug in the system.
So what is our final review verdict for you, our listener? If you are going to the bookstore today looking for a fast-paced thriller or a self-help book with 10 actionable steps to maximize your morning routine and guarantee financial success, this is not the book for you. Do not buy it expecting a dopamine hit.
It will definitely not provide that.
But if you want a deeply moving, beautifully observed series of vignettes that will make you feel incredibly seen in your own quiet moments of failure, this book is an absolute 5-star recommendation. It will change the way you view your own mistakes, and it will radically change how you view the strangers around you.
That makes the final recommendation easy. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final, lingering thought to mull over, something that builds on everything we've unpacked today. Think about the specific physical objects Ray interacts with throughout his journey.
The tactile things.
Yes. Think about the dead bicycle battery he has to deal with on his very first day of work. Or the 24,000 yen ceramic vase he accidentally shatters, forcing him to work for free for 2 months just to pay off the debt.
Or that single shoe floating in the floodwater of his apartment after he wakes up to find ankle-deep water ruining his room.
Exactly. What if our lives are actually mapped out not by the grand, deliberate decisions we make about our careers or our relationships, but by the quiet rebellion of carrying on after the inanimate objects of the world have entirely betrayed us? How much of your own identity is shaped simply by the things you decided not to throw away?
The things we decide not to throw away. The folded tickets, the misprinted cards. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Go pick up a copy of the book and keep learning, keep questioning, and keep walking. Catch you next time. Welcome to another deep dive. Today we are looking at a book that captures the quiet, everyday failures of modern life with an accuracy that is, honestly, almost uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about a beautifully minimalist piece of literature. It's titled ACHE, What Kind of Life Is This? By Cahyanudien Aziz Saputra.
It is a really remarkable piece of work.